everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we get to go to everyone's favorite place, our local car dealership, to look at the Chevy Equinox and the Chevy Blazer, next on Every Mile. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to a Chevy Equinox EV. This has been the long-awaited affordable EV from General Motors, and we've had experience, at least a little bit of a test drive experience with the Cadillac Lyriq. And today we are looking at, I guess it's baby brother, to see what we think. My first thoughts are, you know, it's soft touch, but there's definitely some harder touch areas. Now, one of the things is, so this is front wheel drive. One of the things I've heard is that it doesn't have a lot of power, and you know, this isn't the kind of car you're going to be taking to the track, clearly. It has plenty of power. I will say, we're at a pretty low state of charge. It's not telling me here, when we had it off, it said like 18%, but it did get some torque steer. It's been a while since I've driven a vehicle that gave me torque steer. When you apply a lot of torque, sometimes the wheel just kind of moves a little bit. It's not dangerous, it's just, you know, characteristics of a front wheel drive. So over 300 miles of range, built in Mexico, eligible for the full $7,500 tax credit. They have had some pretty good lease deals here. It's quiet, full one pedal driving.
So what do you think about it?
I think the radio might be the worst I've ever heard. Just to be perfectly honest, I thought the Lyriq was pretty bad, but this really takes the cake. This is a 2LT, right? So I guess we'll have to look where that is in the trim level.
No moonroof.
No moonroof, no ventilated seats. So, I mean, it seems quiet. I will say that.
I do like the seats. You know, I am very picky about seats. And these seem supportive, yet wide enough to be comfortable.
I'm reminded of what I don't like about front-wheel drive cars. My daily driver is a rear-wheel drive Tesla Model 3, so this is quite a bit different from that. But it's not bad. It's what almost everyone would be used to. You know, this is supposed to be a car that's accessible for everyone, and at the price point you can get this with the $7,500 tax credit, as well as I think it may be a lot of what folks need.
Some storage down here. Cup holders.
I do like the knobs. One thing to point out, you cannot does not come, and it's not at any level with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So if that's something important to you, you should look elsewhere. You use it on your ID4. I don't have it on my Model 3. And my view on that is, if this is infotainment is good, if it works well, then you won't miss it. But if it doesn't, you will sorely miss it. And we don't have enough time in this to know one way or another. I can see how people would like this, particularly if, you know, you're a Chevy guy or gal, and you know, you want to move up to go into EVs. Drives fine, you know. I think it drives better than the Lyriq. I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's a lot smaller, so it has on-route battery preconditioning. It has a heat pump.
Heat pump?
I know, right? Which is still not available, at least in the U.S., for the ID4.
Wow.
Inexplicably, my left butt cheek keeps vibrating. I don't think that means I'm having a stroke. I think it thinks I'm not singing a line here.
It's sending a signal directly to your rear end.
Yeah. Which is usually how I get my commands. I don't really care a whole lot for this A-pillar is enormous. It looks like it has 360-degree camera, which is nice. Something we don't have in our ID4, which I wish we did. Back seat seems to have plenty of room sitting behind myself. I'm 5'11". USB-C. Let's see what's in the back. Power. There is some additional storage down here. Get an EBSC, that's nice. Doesn't look like it comes with a cargo cover though. Well, that's what hit a button. Oh yeah. Power close, nice. And this, my friends, is why you don't get a black vehicle. I actually like the looks of it. Nice Michelin all-season tires. 2LT 44140 sticker. So what do you think? Is an Equinox in your future?
Well, no, I have an ID4 that I love, but I think this is an interesting option. And if I did not already have an ID4, I think this might be on my list. I mean, there's a lot of compelling reasons, right? The fact that you can get the tax credit, which puts this in a more affordable price range.
Yeah.
You mentioned the heat pump earlier. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the range. How much range does this have?
You know, definitely over 300.
Mm-hmm. And it's comfortable. It's a nice size. You said it has a very smooth drive.
Very. Drivetrain's very, very smooth. You can do one pedal driving if you like, and you can adjust that between you know, high and low. So, you know, I had it in high, but it was kind of jerky even for me who likes one pedal driving. So we adjusted that down. So yeah, I like it. Aesthetically, obviously that's the most subjective thing. I think it actually looks pretty good. I wouldn't get a black color unless I was really dedicated to keeping it clean, unlike this dealership. Myself care that much for front wheel drive, but most people are used to that, so it won't make any difference. Wouldn't be any reason to have all-wheel drive unless you really were in truly aggressive snow situation. But I think a lot of folks will buy this for the price, you know, in the 30s. Basically, is what you're. It would be interesting to see like this compared to the Blazer, because there's really not. We were talking to the salesman, and he was like, he can't tell the difference. Like we're across the parking lot aesthetically, you know. Now the one thing that we haven't talked about, and from what I've seen online, the fast charging isn't that fast. It's got a very low voltage battery, so you end up having to use the 350 kilowatts, even though it only does, you know, 100 and some odd. I'll look up and see what the max is. But you know, how many people, that's a big deal to us who travel 3 or 4 times a year, but I mean, most people will plug this in their garage and never think about it. So I don't think that's a big deal for most people. Really, the worst thing about this car is the radio. Really, we couldn't believe how bad it was.
But that's one con among many pros, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a nice car. Like the style, even like the blue accents on the interior here. I like that there's buttons. I'm not really that bothered by the absence personally of CarPlay or Android Auto. Nice big screen. And in fact, you know what's funny? This screen is actually, I don't know if it's a size thing or what, but with the Lyric, the middle adjustments were completely blocked by the steering wheel, and I don't get that in this. That was weird. We'll have to see if the Blazer's any different.
If I can nitpick for a moment, one thing that I don't love is this center console. It doesn't raise up like you're used to. It raises over, which is decidedly inconvenient if you are a passenger.
Yeah, 100% true. There you have it, our first quick look at the, what is this again?
Chevy Equinox.
Oh, this is our first quick look at the Chevy Equinox.
Guess what? We're in a Blazer.
We're trying out the Blazer EV. This one is an LT, but it's all-wheel drive. Definitely bigger, that's for sure.
Bigger?
Bigger. I like the seats better. They have more cushion. Did you notice that?
I did, and I agree. The seats in the Equinox were nice, but firm. But these are just more plush, and I do enjoy them.
I guess you hear those sounds. I guess you can turn that off.
It's got a lot of those EV noises. Wow. The speed of that clicker. It's like a heartbeat racing.
All right, let's see what it's got. Yeah, I mean, that's more of what I would expect.
The console is slightly different. It is all enclosed here and does not have that bottom level of storage. But they did fix the center console and raise it backward instead of from the side. So I appreciate that. Looks like the interior accents here, at least in this one, look very similar, but they're black, whereas the Equinox was blue. Screens look the same, is that right?
Yeah, very nice.
Is the steering wheel the same?
As far as I can tell.
Okay. Still no moonroof. So how does the all-wheel drive compare to the front-wheel drive of the other, of the Equinox?
I like it. I didn't detect any torque steer, but definitely a lot more power. I mean, well, significantly more. I wouldn't say it's noticeable, but not crazy amount. Ride's nice.
It's like the seats have a white trim.
So I can definitely tell I'm in a much larger car, because I am. And this is very much similar to what we experienced in the Cadillac Lyriq. Not bad, just not as much fun, I would say. Even though it has more power, it's not as much fun to drive. And I guess that's just a function of mass. This one also says check rear right turn lamp, so that's not ideal. But it does have plenty of power. Oh. But you can tell the weight more. Body roll is controlled, it's just not. I don't know how to describe it other than to say you definitely feel the mass of the vehicle more than the smaller Equinox, that's for sure. This is all-wheel drive, it's 270 something miles, right? Range.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very similar to the Equinox, and honestly, not that much bigger on the inside, that's for sure. Wouldn't you say? I mean, there's not. We'll sit in the back and try it out, but
The cargo space seemed identical, at least just at eyeballing it. The interior, although the seats are better, it feels the same size, and yet you're noticing that this is a bigger vehicle in the way that it drives, which is interesting.
But that's more handling than anything. You know, when you're making the turn, it's not bad. It's just different. I mean, very quiet, very still the same, refined drivetrain. That's for sure.
This looks nearly identical to the Equinox. Don't you think this looks just like the Equinox?
It really does. Look at this stuff. It may be slightly lighter. It's very comfortable.
Vents.
Yep. Sure, it's wider than the Equinox, but it looks the same to me. A little bit of storage in here. Not much. Still no cargo cover. Of course, the seats go down, but not that much room. If you think about, obviously it's not squared off, right? So this would be just not a lot of space. Some space, but not as much as you would think.
So this is Galaxy Gray Metallic with a black interior. Sticker is $50,195.
Well, what do you think of the Blazer?
It's really hard to compare the Equinox and the Blazer because they're so similar. So I think I would really need to look at the pricing. Yeah, I like the seats. The seats are very, very cushy, but it feels essentially the same. They look essentially the same.
They do. I mean, from a driver's perspective, they don't drive. I mean, this drives like a much bigger car, basically like the Lyric, like I was saying earlier. And it's not bad. It's not. It's just you can really feel the additional mass. The Blazer has more power. This is all-wheel drive, but these aren't the type of vehicles that you are that concerned about. Speed or whatever. They both can have ample power. Right. I just, on its face, prefer the driving of the smaller Equinox. It's just more fun to drive, and that's important to me. This is a really nice place to be. It is nice. There's no question about that. It's really, really close to the Equinox. Fit and finish is basically the same. The materials are the same. There's some black plastic here. So yeah, I mean, I like them both. Yeah, I mean, I think GM's done a good job here. I just can't wait to see additional production and see where the prices end up as far as the deals you can get. This is a Blazer, and yeah, I think we'll get back in our ID4 now
and blaze some new trails on down the road.
So which is the best option? It's very difficult to tell the difference between the two. The Blazer has more rear seat room and more cushy seats, but both are very comfortable and quiet vehicles. Currently, the Blazer is only available in all-wheel drive and has an EPA range of 279 miles. A rear-wheel drive option is coming and will have 324 miles of EPA range. The Equinox is available in both front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. The front-wheel drive model has a 319-mile EPA range, whereas the all-wheel drive variant goes 285 miles on a single charge. Most people won't notice it, but torque steer does occur with a lot of throttle input. Much like our experience with the Cadillac Lyric, the Blazer doesn't like the turns and is lacking adequate body control. It weighs nearly 1,000 pounds more than the Equinox, and you feel every ounce. The Equinox has the worst sounding radio I have ever heard, and there is no upgrade available. And this from a guy who mainly listens to audiobooks. The radio in the Blazer is equally bad, but an upgraded Bose system will be available, but is not currently. The Ultium platform on which GM EVs are based is smooth and refined and has one-pedal driving. They also have heat pumps and en-route battery preconditioning. The trims for the Equinox will be simplified in 2025 to just 2 levels, RS and LT. Super Cruise is a $3,355 option and requires other options. This puts the LT at the $50,000 MSRP price range for the front-wheel drive model, assuming you want ventilated seats, and basically you want ventilated seats. Similarly, if you want Super Cruise on the Blazer, it's a $3,255 option, but it also requires the comfort and convenience package for $2,495, which brings the all-wheel drive LT to $54,745. Pricing was not available for the rear-wheel drive Blazer at this time. GM has been aggressive with their lease deals, and I'm sure there are deals to be had for purchasing as well. Both vehicles have final assembly in Mexico and are eligible for the full $7,500 tax credit at the time of purchase if you qualify. While both of these vehicles will have access to Tesla's NACS system via an adapter and eventually get the native J3400 port, they won't be able to access version 2 superchargers. So that's something to keep in mind. Overall, I'm impressed with both the Equinox and the Blazer, and they do have compelling prices at the base trim level. I much prefer how the Equinox drives, but I do appreciate the extra rear seat room of the Blazer, and might consider a rear-wheel drive Blazer or a slightly used Cadillac Lyriq. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.